Warning. The following may contain concepts, ideas, and/or reflections unique in nature and not yet approved by government and/or corporate entities. This content is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended to stimulate further reflection or to perpetuate additional discourse beyond the scope already outlined by institutional curriculum. This is the future. Global monopolies reign supreme, dominating nearly every aspect of people's lives. Driven by their insatiable corporate greed, they have squeezed off the spigot that had trickled for countless generations prior. Infrastructures crumble. Basic shelters become unattainable for many. The social contract is left muddied and torn beyond all recognition. As propaganda reaches a fever pitch, schools fail to churn out anything greater than a globalistic automaton, loaded with meaningless platitudes imbued with the corporate message and little else. Faced with possible social unrest, as an ever-growing proportion of the population descends into abject poverty, the globalists convene and agree to work together to ensure that every citizen has access to the digital world they control. Soon, an internet connection becomes more essential than proper nutrition. Every street is filled with taciturn faces, illuminated with the proprietary glow emanating from patented crystalline screens, their deft fingers dancing over digital interfaces with alacrity, all eager to give what they perceive to be an original thought. It is from the ashes of this dystopian hellscape the simulation theory arose. For the past few decades, as everything fell to utter ruin, the people turned to one thing that did not disintegrate from a single use or a hard stare: technology. In fact, as the highways devolved into a series of holes, power tools' plastic gears blew apart a moment after the warranty expiration date, television, cell phones, and computers actually improved with time. And so, perhaps unsurprisingly, the masses' faith in technology grew to biblical proportions. Eventually, everything related to computer science was not so much a matter of if, but only of when. Juxtaposed from the bleak, cold reality to the seeming limitlessness of the virtual, the population flocked en masse to their brilliant pixelated existences while lamenting the procrastinators for clinging to their threadbare and decaying real world. Of course, it was only a matter of time for those who spent much of their waking hours in the digital realm to theorize that the real world was already a digital one. For centuries, the scientific method has stood as a beacon of unbiased thought, cutting through the irrational darkness. Where the rest of humanity gropes blindly in the fog of superstition and lies, the great sentinels of science, armed with their flawless methodology, will cut straight to the truth. Never yielding to their own personal convictions or beliefs, their truths are final and impeccable. And this is not the scientific community's way of blowing smoke up their respective asses. Unfortunately, no matter how good the method is, the real action happens before the math and science are actually applied. Why are you trying to prove this theory in the first place? Usually money and infamy are the two main drivers. In other words, either a company hires a group of scientists to prove or disprove something, or a freelancing scientist is seeking recognition, such as getting their work published in a scientific journal, hoping to snag some precious financing. In this case, I'll focus on the latter. Now let's imagine that you're a scientist fresh out of university. You're loaded to the gills with debt, and you've yet to land a lucrative corporate gig where you may ply your craft to prove that X product is not in fact carcinogenic. This is when you realize that no one is looking for a banal discovery, and if you want to stay afloat, you're going to have to find something yet to be proven but also exciting. And what could be more exciting than science fiction? All we need to do is white out the fiction part and insert some convoluted mathematics that the average person can barely comprehend, let alone question, and we're all set. How many headlines claim, "Scientist reveals the secrets of black holes. Is time travel possible? There may be hundreds, if not thousands, of alternate universes. Are fully realistic androids closer than you think? AI will surpass human intellect in 2 years. breakthrough in life extension technology? Or do we live in a simulation? Chances are about 50-50. The last one was published in Scientific American on October 13th, 2020. And the article references an Oxford paper by Nick Bostrom, published in 2003. And no, I didn't read it, as my time is precious to me, since I don't believe in either time travel or significant life extension technology. Sure, I'm being dismissive, but I also grew up watching The Matrix as a kid in 1999. So life being a simulation was not a novel concept to me, or one that I took too seriously. And, as it happens, another film in the same year, The 13th Floor, toyed with a similar notion, as well as Vanilla Sky in 2001, which was adapted from a Spanish film. That's 3 movies in 2 years, using life in a computer program as a real possibility. I'm not sure if anybody actually takes the simulation hypothesis seriously or not, but I have to wonder if this seeming innocuous paper has some more serious undercurrents. Firstly, as science blurs the line between fact and fiction, it begins to feel as though they are encroaching upon our imaginative thought and trying to mold it. Personally, I prefer when science sticks to the more tactile application, when the science is proven through cause and effect in its observation. In short, if it lacks a real-world function, then I don't want to see the scientific stamp of approval on it. As science becomes more abstract, then some small truths must be accepted for the equations that follow to retain any value. In our example, this truth is that the future holds quantum computing, or some significant advancements in computers, as a certainty and not just a possibility. Of course, this little detail must be accepted before any further headway can be made in the hypothesis. And this is not the only idea proposed by the scientific community that heavily relies upon this exact assumption. Computing will continue to improve without hitting a ceiling. From the inevitability of AI to cracking the code on aging, light speed travel, poverty elimination, and so on, and so on, and so on. In fact, most seem convinced that there is almost nothing that computers won't be able to do in the future. To quote The Matrix, and humanity marveled at its own magnificence as it gave birth to AI. And how is the faith in technology not reaching a religious level? The Apple Store is the new Mecca, and every year the faithful flock back to pay their homage to the tech god and receive their blessing. No one can question the power of technology. You may only choose which tech monopoly to bend the knee. Technology is a tool, and those who worship it become less than one. I will end the video now with a Morpheus quote. "The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room, you can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth." What truth? That you're a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you're born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. As you no doubt have guessed, I am the maker of this video. You have the look of someone expecting to be told that they just watched an anti-tech monologue overlaid with images generated with AI because his camera wasn't focused while recording. Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Thank you for watching to the end, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It really helps at this early stage. I have more videos on the way. Ciao!